Yeah, and let's look again. So this three-pronged style of war and how it's also part of a loop of a feedback loop, which is giving Russia more information on how the stuff that they use to work against Ukraine over there will work in the Middle East, which means that eventually Russia knows they're going to have to jump in too. So here's what it is. The first thing is that, like, let's look at this tactic. Shahid first. Iran puts their $20,000 to $50,000 missiles to saturate radar and force defenders to deplete their expensive interceptor stockpiles. $2 to $4 million Patriot or Arrow missiles. The U.S. is still using Patriot missiles, which go back to the late '90s. That's all I have to say. Once this shield is busy or exhausted, they follow up with their hypersonic missiles, like the Fateh, to hit high value targets. This turns a technological advantage, the interceptor, into an economic
Yeah,
liability because those
absolutely.
interceptors, you know, they're a waste of money. And if you don't shoot down the first cheap metal things that come, the interceptors are going to be gone anyway. So they need to think twice about this interceptor strategy. Then they use hypersonic and modernized guerrilla tactics. Unlike the U.S. and Israeli reliance on massive fixed point carrier groups and air bases, the Russian Iranian model uses mobile truck mounted launchers that can fire and disappear before you can reposition. So basically, if you have a missile launch site and you're putting missiles out, once the satellites pick out where that missile is coming from, they can destroy it. But by the time they turn around to go, it's gone. And I've seen images. Sometimes it's not even a truck. Iran has cities underground, and they have things. The ground will open up, and a missile will come out. Then the ground will close, and then it'll move to another area. They've spent. This is what people don't realize. Khomeini was not just a religious leader. He spent 20 to 30 years overseeing the construction of this military system in conjunction with Russia and also in conjunction with Iranian scientists. So while because the U.S. has been telegraphing for decades that they want to destroy Iran. Okay, now the hypersonic testing reportedly used operational learning. The hypersonic test missiles, along with the drones, what's been happening is Iran has been giving Russia technology for drones, and Russia's been giving them technology for hypersonic missiles. And Russia's watching how these hypersonic missiles are working in the Middle East, because that's a different terrain from Ukraine. And they're taking data, just like in car racing, where you take data to figure out more things about Middle East war. And you have to ask your question: if Russia's not using this data for its war in Europe and is using it for the Middle East, what is that saying, Afalabi? It means that either they're going to improve the strategy for Iran in fighting in the Middle East, or they're going to jump in either through sending troops there or through helping build armies with groups like Hezbollah and in Syria and Lebanon to basically give them the data because Russia has the data, they have the data analysis. Iran doesn't have the data analysis, which means that by the time this war starts again in a couple of years, which it will, Iran will even be more devastating because they will learn from the data from what's going on in consultation with the Russians. Because I don't believe Russia is going to send troops to the Middle East. So if they want to know how if they're using this data not to improve their army, but to figure out how to improve what's going on in the Middle East, it means that they're in it for the long run with Iran. What do you think?